Our next case, we are staying in the state of Colorado, but this case is really unusual. A Colorado man has been charged with first-degree murder after human remains were found chopped up and stuffed into 2 suitcases. Denver police say that the victim, 33-year-old Joshua Lockhart, was killed, this is what police say, by 28-year-old Benjamin Satterwhite. He has been charged in this case. It's how they pieced the suitcases back to Satterwhite is what is very curious to me. So let's talk about the details. On the morning of December 29th of 2020, just a few weeks ago, last month, city workers were plowing snow in the streets of Denver, and they find these 2 suitcases on the street, on the sidewalk. There's a purple one and there is a black one. So one of the employees unzips the purple one and discovers a human foot and immediately calls 911. Okay.
I feel like no one should ever have to see that. It's a rough day.
Right?
It's a really rough day. Yeah.
Right? Because you really don't know, and it's cold. So maybe there's not that kind of odor that you may get from decomposing body parts. And you may just very genuinely just be like, hey, there's a suitcase here. What is it? Is it trash? Oh boy. So once police arrived, they noticed a baggage claim sticker on the purple suitcase. This is the one with the foot. Now, we're not talking about those big tags that they wrap around and put on your handle, the really, really big, long ones. Okay, that's not the one we're talking about. In addition, in case you haven't flown recently, in addition to that, the airlines take a little barcode sticker. It's usually white, it's small, and they just stick it on your suitcase somewhere else. It's like a second identifier to your suitcase. And because I traveled so much for Crime Watch Daily, I had so many of these stickers on my suitcases. I was constantly peeling them off because I was afraid my suitcase would never end up at the right place because you have so many of them and they stick them in weird places. It's like, oh my gosh, here's another one. So that's what we're talking about. And the stickers have not only a barcode, but some other identifying information. Okay. So according to police, the sticker they found allegedly had the last name of a passenger and a location. The name, Satterwhite. And then DEN for Denver. All right. So now police opened the other suitcase. This is the black suitcase. And in there, they find a human torso in a garbage bag. Okay, so now they've got body parts in 2 suitcases and they have a sticker that could mean something. It could mean nothing, right? This suitcase could belong to someone who threw it out, never took the sticker out. We have no idea. But this is the avenue the police start to pursue. So their approach is this. 1, let's get to Denver Airport. Let's talk to the authorities there and figure out what does this sticker mean. The second thing that they start doing is let's pull all the surveillance from the area where the suitcases were found and let's see what information that gets us to. This is how police are working this case. At the Denver airport, they get information back and the police are told that it's a United Airlines sticker that landed in Denver on the morning of the 21st. So it is a sticker that is from recent travel. That suitcase, according to the police and according to the airlines, was used very recently. Okay, so what does this mean? Right? Like, what do we do with this information? So the suitcase allegedly belongs to the father of the man who stands accused. So not Benjamin Satterwhite, but Benjamin's father. The father told police that he flew to Denver to see his son Benjamin, and 9 News in Denver reports that the father told police that his son had a problem with drugs. Okay. So a few things are coming into focus right now. What are you thinking so far, Danielle?
The sticker, take it off. Take it
Right.
off. Why is the sticker on
Yes.
there? And Dad, why why are you talking to the police? But at that point, no one knows what's going on, right? And
so you feel that dad is partially helping police to build a case and maybe incriminating his son by making that statement that was reported.
I can't help but feel that way. But as we'll see, I think with or without that statement, it's a pretty strong case.
Okay. So police then look at the security cameras in the area, and they say that they have found footage that allegedly shows the suitcases being tossed in that exact location the day before the suitcases and the body parts were found. So that would have been on December 28th at around 8 p.m. Police say that the car was a dark-colored SUV. Now, this is where I believe it gets unbelievably interesting. While the police are tracking down the baggage sticker, they are going through this surveillance video. There is another issue going on in Denver at approximately the same time that the investigation's going on that might give them even more information. So this is 3 days after the suitcases are found. Police are called to the home of Benjamin Satterwhite. Police say that they find a woman dead of what appears to be a drug overdose. And according to police records, Satterwhite is unconscious, and allegedly because of a drug overdose, he is transported to the hospital, according to police. Here's the other thing. Police say that they find another suitcase matching the one that they found in the snow. Now, that to me is like, really, sometimes people do buy suitcases in sets, but come on, how does that implicate him? I mean, that's just me.
Well, and it's just a black suitcase, right? It's not a pink polka dot suitcase. There's nothing unique.
Right. It's just another suitcase. But okay, for them, they're like, suitcases. Anytime, this last name comes up in a suitcase, police right now are really on edge, because,
can't blame them.
No, given what they have found. So they are in the house and they're dealing with they're in the house and they're dealing with a woman who is now passed away. They are dealing with a man who has been transported to the hospital. And police say on just their immediate impressions, they say it appears that there is blood on a chair and on a pillow, that there are cleaning supplies and trash bags in the immediate living area. So police say that they get a search warrant to come back and search the rest of the house. This is what I always find interesting. So if you have someone who's been found dead, you have someone who's been transported to the hospital, why do the police still need a search warrant to search the rest of the house if you already have a situation like this unfolding? Is there any latitude when that happens, or must they get a search warrant because they're thinking, or is that because they're thinking search warrant because of the suitcases with the body parts?
So that's a great question. I do have to say, part of why this story is so sad is that there's another life lost, right, to a drug overdose. And that links into your question. The police are allowed to come into this house because of it's called community caretaking exception. They were called because there was an overdose, there was a death. And when they come in, anything that they see in plain sight is fair game. But in this case, now things are adding up to the police. It's the same last name, which is a rare last name.
Oh, yeah.
It's the suitcase. They have nothing to lose at this point by going to a judge, getting a warrant. They're absolutely allowed to use what they saw. And that way there's going to be no issue later in the defense attorney moving to suppress the evidence that they found. So what the police did here was just good, clean police work. They saw what they saw when they were trying to care for these people, and it was incredibly damning and more than enough to get probable cause to search. So they got the warrant and came back, and they didn't have to worry about evidence destruction, right? Because both residents of the house were gone.
Police returned with that search warrant, and they allegedly discovered blood in the bathroom and on a sofa in the living room. They claim that they discovered packaging belonging to a hacksaw and a saw blade. They also saw a receipt from Walmart for the saw and the saw blades, and they were purchased on December 27th. Okay, a few days before the bodies were discovered, before the body parts were discovered. And the name on the receipt ties back to the victim, apparently. That's what's interesting, that police are saying that the receipt ties back to Joshua Lockhart, the victim, not to Benjamin, the suspect. That's what they say. I find that curious. So police go to the Walmart and they review the security cameras. They say that it shows a man who allegedly looks like Benjamin, but here's the problem. The man buying the saw at that time that matches the register receipt is wearing a yellow face mask because of the pandemic. So police say they cannot positively say that was Benjamin. And this is something we've all been wondering in true crime. Because of the pandemic and the wearing of face masks now, it's going to be very, very hard to identify some people at these points where it was sometimes so much easier in security cameras at gas stations or at department stores or any place. But now with the face mask, good luck.
I mean, that would have been such damning evidence to have him on video buying this item, probably with the deceased credit card, right? So to miss that evidence, I'm sure the police are incredibly frustrated.
Yeah, there's a weakness there. And especially if they are correct on what they're saying about the credit card and who it may belong to, that could also be an interesting point. Cell phone records from Benjamin's deceased girlfriend, this is the one who was found in the apartment, allegedly show a text that was sent from Benjamin to the girlfriend referring to someone, quote, who's toast. I don't know how damning that is, I don't know. What do you think, Danielle?
From what I read, it doesn't say his name.
Right.
So that alone isn't enough. Is it? I'm sure the defense attorney is not thrilled to have that as part of the case.
It's not helpful. It is not helpful to the defense. It's unclear how helpful it is to the prosecution.
That's right.
A witness reportedly told police that Benjamin and Joshua being the victim here, had once been roommates. Joshua was last seen on December 26. A friend told police that he took Joshua to a check cashing place and then dropped him off at a park. According to published reports, Joshua was a father and he had allegedly struggled with drug addiction and homelessness for some time, and that he had recently been kicked out of rehab before his murder. So it's a very sad story leading up to his death. Benjamin Satterwhite was arrested on January 8th. Police have not been able to find all of Joshua's remains. Still missing are Joshua's head, arms, and one leg.
Wow. It's a lot.
That really is. And just from the point of the criminal case, do you have to find the whole body or just having part of the body? And then obviously they're going to have to positively ID it. I mean, we're not done yet.
You don't have to have the body at all. This suggests that he's definitely deceased. This case brings up two things. I'm feeling a little wild, so I'm going to tell two secrets. I've been locked down, I think, for too long. So the first one is a trade secret. Sometimes as defense attorneys, a lot of the cases that we go to trial on are circumstantial evidence cases, right? Which just means that a little inference, there needs to be a leap between that fact, that evidence, and guilt. But the truth is, circumstantial evidence can be overwhelming. In this case, we have a hacksaw, we have a receipt, we have a suitcase linking back to someone, we have blood in the apartment. So even ignoring the direct evidence, that text message, this is a case where we can say it's circumstantial all day long. But I think most people without knowing anything else, right? We don't know what can poke holes in this. That is a very strong circumstantial case. Now, the second secret is my husband actually is a prosecutor. So we are on the exact opposite sides of the fence on this. We had a case similar to this in San Diego. It was a young woman who was found in a suitcase. There were very interesting things at the end and details, which I won't talk about right now, but that had to do with whether or not there were special circumstances for the death penalty. So I did look it up, and it looks like, and Colorado attorneys or residents can confirm that there is no death penalty in Colorado as of March 2020. My husband and I don't talk about the death penalty. It's the one thing that we don't discuss. I'm sure you can guess which side of the fence each of us stands on, but Ruth Bader Ginsburg said the secret to a good marriage is being a little deaf sometimes. So there are areas that we don't go into, but those are two things that I thought about a lot with that case. And I think you point out the most important one. The third is how sad this person's life was towards the end and kind of the road that they were traveling.
It's really sad about everyone, because if what Benjamin's father, Benjamin being the one charged here, what Benjamin's father allegedly told police about his son struggling with drugs, and the fact that it is believed that the woman in the apartment was his girlfriend who died of an OD, according to police, and that he had to be rushed to the hospital. You put all of this together and no good can come of it. This drug addiction, and clearly these are not the actions of someone thinking straight. So sadly, when there are drugs involved and we don't know what kind they were, this leads to a disaster. And yeah, it's awful. Awful what drugs will do to you. That doesn't absolve you of the responsibility, if you are indeed found guilty. But man, what it does to people. This is a perfect example of it. It's like how sad his dad came in to visit Benjamin, right? And it's just so sad. So we want to make clear here that Benjamin Satterwhite faces a charge of murder and also tampering with a deceased human body. He has not formally entered a plea yet. However, he is presumed innocent, and who knows what kind of information the rest of this investigation will turn up now.